John, don't hide your light under a bushel, let it shine. Kia ora, welcome to the show.
Good morning. It's lovely to be back in your parlour again.
Now,
Well, virtual parlour.
virtual parlour, yes. Now, over the summer break, something you did was one of these. I mean, they used to have them as magazine quizzes. Now it's all online. So, what
Yes.
quirky, neurally diverse personality are you? And you answer all of these questions. It's a little bit of sort of online self-diagnosis with
Sure.
no science or medical veracity behind it, perhaps. But what were the
Oh, yes.
findings, John?
We'll need to drop all sorts of disclaimers and qualifications around this discussion because I'm no expert on it. However, I want to talk about ADHD.
Okay.
And I used to include talks on ADHD in my stuff when I worked at the parenting place.
Mm-hmm.
And I readily diagnosed that other members of my family were ADHD or neurodiverse in various ways.
Yeah.
But I, of course, even though I acknowledged that I had some quirks,
You
I'd
were
never crossed my mind that I might be in that camp. But a few things happened. Like I was doing a citizenship ceremony last year
Mm-hmm.
in the town hall. The town hall was packed, about 1,500 people. Very formal occasion, councillors on the stage and people lining up to receive their certificates and lots of applause. And I did my bit. I only read out half the names because it
Yeah.
was such a big one. And then when I finished reading my names, I looked across and I saw one of the councillors I knew on the stage.
Okay.
And so after I handed over to the other reader, I wandered across the stage and sat down next to this councillor and was having a chat with him. And then I was thinking, oh, I wonder if that name caller needs a glass of water. So I wandered across and, oh, that jug's empty. So I wandered off and got a drink of water and brought it on stage again and put it down next to him and sat down with the councillor again and started chatting. And I get a text and I look at my phone and it's the organizer of the event going, John, is everything all right? And it suddenly dawned on me, maybe it isn't normal to wander around on the stage in front of 1,500 people in a formal, event
Yeah.
as if it was someone's lounge and I'm getting them cups of tea and things.
Yeah.
And it was really quite a shock thinking, oh, that's not normal, is it?
Maybe I'm not
And
normal
so,
after all. Yeah.
no, no. And then I did one of these, I found out what was the most reputable online test,
Okay.
did it, and scored nearly 100% ADHD on the scale.
My goodness, that's probably
And
one of your
I thought,
best
oh,
test
maybe
results ever.
what's that?
That's probably one of your best test results ever.
Well, that's another thing.
Yeah.
But my wife did it and scored zero
Oh,
on the
okay.
same test.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she sort of was nodding away and saying yes. And it does seem to make sense of a few things. Like, Andrew, I'm not really proud of this, but I have actually started 5 academic tertiary degrees
Okay.
and barely finished one of them.
Mm.
I've also started other courses and things, done brilliantly at them. I'm quite good at doing stuff
Yeah.
and never finished them. And
John, can I
I've
just
got,
say that this is
yeah,
an alternative way to get letters after your name. Instead of all the degrees that you never finished, now you can put the letters ADHD after your name. Put that on your
hey,
business
look,
cards, right?
now I detect a note of cynicism in your voice, and perhaps it's deserved because I'm it's suddenly self-diagnosing yourself with ADHD has become very popular.
It has,
And
yes. Yeah.
one of the things that I have heard about ADHD is it then gives you the right to diagnose ADHD in other people, and they do it with great gusto.
Apparently.
And so there is almost like this, and I hate being a trend follower,
Mm.
but there just may be something in this.
Yeah.
I remember at the parenting place, ADHD was often dismissed as either, a myth or an excuse. I heard it called by some DDD, meaning dad deficit disorder,
Okay.
meaning it was just if your kids are showing these behavior problems, they're just not disciplined properly. Step up your discipline. They just lack a bit of moral fiber.
Yeah.
I also heard it called ADE, which is something that I'm claiming for myself now, ADE, which is any damn excuse. Excuse my language there. But darn, we'll say darn, any darn
Darn excuse.
excuse.
That's much
You
cleaner.
know,
Yeah, we'll bleep that out later.
you're just lazy, messy, and incompetent, and so stop. You're just pulling down some fancy label.
Yeah.
And I've found that, but you know, one of the things I do recall for parents, and for the children was a proper diagnosis of neurodiversity was incredibly helpful
Yeah.
because it helped them just understand difficult and frustrating situations and put
Mm.
a new lens on it. I can remember a teacher friend of mine who was doing relief in a class, and there was a boy that was just driving him up the wall, and he was getting cross with this kid. And the kid said, "But sir, I'm ADHD."
Yeah.
And my friend was almost ashamed to think, "Yes, of course you are." And he just changed his understanding of that situation completely and could handle the kid. And the
Yeah.
same with parents when they realize, hold on, their impetuosity, if that's the right word, impetuosity,
Let's go for that.
you know, um, is just something a little bit different in their wiring. And some of the things like the difficulty of handling time,
Mm.
relationship difficulties, mood swings, low frustration tolerance, difficulty handling stress, difficulty completing projects, all these things
Yeah.
sometimes get labeled as just being bad personality flaws. It makes them feel very, very guilty.
Mm.
Uh, Forgetfulness. I can be, I start a project, get halfway through it, go to find something else to do that, half do that,
Yeah.
find something else. I can find something, hold it in my hand, and lose it again. I can lose things that I'm still holding in my hand.
Mm.
Uh, and that's not too far off the truth. And it's very frustrating. But to understand that, hold on, maybe this is just in this ADHD realm.
Now, for you,
Useful.
for you personally, I mean, as we say, this is not a scientific diagnosis. You have not,
No.
no, you're not officially done that, but you may choose to do so. But even this realization of, hey, there's a probability that this is me, has that
Hmm.
been helpful since you did the test, John? Has it changed your perspective?
It has a little bit. I may or may not have ADHD. Who knows? It may just be my ENFP personality type written large. It's, uh, you know, and I do worry about so many adults now claiming to belong to the ADHD club. It may diminish the significance
Yeah.
of ADHD for those for whom it is a real and
Turns
big
out
problem.
everybody has ADHD, so nobody's special. I mean, that's the way things seem to be going in terms of social contagion. However, I just want to say out loud that
Hmm.
neural diversity is real. That
Yeah,
I have friends and family members for whom this is a real thing. They've got a diagnosis, they've got
yeah,
medication, and our society is so much richer and better off because these people are in it,
absolutely.
and they're so much healthier and happier now that they have a diagnosis. So I'm not poo-pooing the idea. I'm just
No.
wondering whether it applies to you, John.
Yeah, I don't know whether it does or not. I have aspects of my life and personality that fit that description, but
Yeah.
whether it is or not due to genuine neurodiversity, I don't know. Maybe I'll explore that further. But it does open the opportunity to examine my life and live better. It
Yeah.
gives me a lot more sympathy for my long-suffering wife. It's interesting. I did a bit of work with Tony Campolo many years ago,
Yeah.
and Peggy Campolo took my soon-to-be wife, this is just before we got married,
Yeah.
took Naomi aside and said, I think that John might be like Tony, and told her some home truths about what it is like living with a person with a grasshopper type mind that
Yeah.
leaps from thing to thing. So I'm very grateful to Tony Campolo, and my wife is very grateful to Peggy Campolo for taking her aside
And she
and
didn't run
talking to her.
away. She didn't run away and hide. So look at that. She went.
She had the chance,
Yeah.
but she didn't.
She
But she
heard the
went in
truth.
perhaps with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, that is absolutely fantastic. I think this is an important topic, and I think the danger of it is we can throw the baby out with the bathwater. We can go, oh no, this is just an online thing. Oh no, this is just social contagion. And as you say, we mock it and we belittle people who
Yeah.
have a genuine condition. But hey, I'm probably just too scared to take the test, John.
Oh, I'll forward the link to you. We'll compare notes, perhaps off air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I just wish though that perhaps some of my teachers had some of the more modern understandings of these things. And I just think, because I had a pretty wretched time at school.
Yeah.
I was, you know, I admit bright, but my academic progress was terrible because I
Mm.
just didn't finish stuff. I couldn't get engaged with stuff. And I just think if teachers had some of the insights they possess now,
Yeah.
it could have been, and I'm very grateful for the great teachers I did have. I don't want to denigrate them at all, but maybe things, as tides change and things, and people have these new insights, maybe my world could have been a lot different. My career could have been a lot different.
Yeah.
But, hey, I can't claim to have been terribly handicapped by this, but it's just an interesting thing to run this filter back over my life history.
And also interesting, I suppose, to apply grace, patience, understanding with people who see the world a little bit differently than ourselves. John, wonderful.
If I wasn't ADHD, I probably would have thought of saying that myself, but gosh, you left in there.
Maybe that's a pass for me then. John, always wonderful to chat with you. Kia ora, thanks for your time today. Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.